I watched my advisor stand at the podium. She clicked to the next slide. My data filled the screen. My 3 years of work. My breakthrough discovery. She smiled at the 7 committee members. And this is where my research diverged from traditional models, she said. My research, not hers. Mine. I sat in the audience. Front row. Invited guest at my own PhD defense. Except I wasn't the one defending. Professor Rebecca Morrison was. She was presenting my dissertation under her name to a committee that included Nobel laureates and department chairs from 3 universities. She clicked again. My methodology appeared, word for word from my drafts. The drafts she told me were not ready yet. The drafts she said needed substantial revision before I could schedule my defense. Those exact drafts, on the screen, as her work. The committee leaned forward. Dr. James Martinez, chair of the physics department, nodded. Revolutionary approach, he murmured. Dr. Lisa Park scribbled notes, fast, excited notes. Rebecca caught my eye. She smiled. Slow and cold. Any questions? She asked the panel. I gripped the armrests. My knuckles went white. The folder on my lap felt heavy. Inside were printed copies, sign times, drafts, email chains, lab notebook photos, my evidence, all of it. But Rebecca had called this meeting. She controlled the room. She had the microphone. But let me back up and tell you how my mentor became my worst nightmare, and how I made sure the entire academic world knew exactly who the real fraud was. 4 years earlier, I walked into Rebecca Morrison's lab on my first day of grad school. The walls were covered with publications, Nature, Science, Cell, her name on every single one. She had 3 grants worth $12 million, 2 postdocs, 5 graduate students. And she wanted me. Your undergraduate thesis on protein folding caught my attention, Rebecca said during our first meeting. She sat behind a massive oak desk. You have intuition, raw talent. That's rare. I felt like I'd won the lottery. Rebecca Morrison was a legend, youngest tenured professor in the department, member of the National Academy of Sciences at 38. Every student wanted to work with her. She picked me. The first year was incredible. Rebecca gave me freedom. Follow your instincts, she told me. Question everything. I designed my own experiments. She approved every proposal, funded every reagent order, gave me access to equipment other students waited months to use. I spent 16-hour days in the lab, nights, weekends, Christmas break. I loved it. My project focused on a protein called TDP43. It misfolds in ALS patients, causes their neurons to die. If I could understand why it misfolds, we might find a treatment, maybe even a cure. Rebecca checked in twice a week. Show me what you've got, she'd say. I'd present my data. She'd ask sharp questions, push me harder, make me think deeper. I thought she was invested, mentoring me, building my skills. By year 2, I had preliminary results. Good results. The protein wasn't misfolding randomly. It was responding to a specific trigger, a cellular stress signal nobody had identified before. I ran the experiments 17 times. Same result every time. Reproducible, significant, publication-worthy. This is excellent work, Rebecca said when I showed her. But let's keep this between us for now. Other labs are working on similar projects. We don't want anyone scooping us. That made sense. Science was competitive. Ideas got stolen. I kept my mouth shut, told no one. Not even the other grad students in the lab. Year 3 changed everything. I had enough data for a paper, a major paper, first author publication in a top journal that would set up my entire career. I wrote the draft in 3 weeks. Rebecca said she'd review it over the weekend. Monday morning, I walked into her office. Sit down, Sarah, she said. Her voice was different, cold, flat. She slid my draft across the desk. Red ink covered every page. This needs substantial work, she said. The writing is unclear. The methods are incomplete. The conclusions are overstated. I stared at the pages. But we discussed these conclusions. You approved the experimental design. I approved preliminary experiments, Rebecca said. This isn't ready for publication. Not even close. I felt sick. What do I need to change? Everything. She stood up. Rewrite it, then we'll talk. I spent 2 months rewriting, changed the structure, added more data, softened my conclusions. Rebecca rejected it again, then again, each time with more red ink, more criticism. My confidence crumbled. The other students started defending. Marcus finished in April, Jennifer in June. Both had weaker data than me. Both published in good journals. Both graduated. Why can't I submit? I asked Rebecca in August. Because your work isn't strong enough yet, she said. Do you want to embarrass yourself? Embarrass this lab? I worked harder, ran more experiments, generated more data. My data set became massive, comprehensive, irrefutable. September came. Rebecca called me into her office. I have some difficult news, she said. Your funding ends in December. The grant won't renew. My stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means you need to defend by December or withdraw from the program. 3 months, after 4 years of work. But I'm ready now. Let me submit the paper, schedule my defense. You're not ready, Sarah. Rebecca's voice was gentle, pitying, like I was delusional. Maybe you should consider a different career path. Not everyone is cut out for research. I left her office shaking. 4 years, thousands of hours, groundbreaking data. And she was telling me to quit. That night, I couldn't sleep. I pulled up my draft, read it again. Then I looked up Rebecca's recent publications. 5 in the past year. I skimmed the abstracts. Nothing related to my work. She hadn't published anything on TD-43. Not yet. A cold feeling spread through my chest. I started digging deeper. Checked her lab website. Read her grant proposals. Found a new submission on the NIH database. Novel mechanisms of TDP43 misfolding. Rebecca Morrison, principal investigator. The description matched my work. Exactly, word for word from my draft. I printed the grant proposal, highlighted every section that used my language, my ideas, my data. Then I pulled up my drafts, the ones Rebecca had reviewed. I compared them side by side. She had copied entire paragraphs, changed a few words here and there, but it was my work, my writing, my discoveries. My hands shook as I printed everything. I needed proof, sometimes evidence that my work came first. The next morning, I went to the graduate program coordinator. Maria Gonzalez had been there 20 years. She knew how things worked. I need advice, I told her. About my advisor. Maria closed her office door. What's wrong? I showed her the documents, the grant proposal, my drafts, the matching text. She's using my work without credit, I said. Maria's face went pale. She studied the papers for 10 minutes. Sarah, this is serious. Have you talked to Professor Morrison about this? She keeps telling me my work isn't good enough, but she's using it for her own grants. You need to document everything, Maria said. Save all emails, all drafts, all communications. Do you have your lab notebooks? I have photos. I photograph every page. Good. Keep them somewhere safe. Not on university servers. Maria leaned forward. Rebecca Morrison is powerful. She has allies. If you're going to make an accusation, you need ironclad proof. I spent the next week gathering evidence, downloaded every email between us, every draft I'd sent, every comment she'd made. I backed everything up, 3 different places: cloud storage, external drive, physical printouts. Then I reached out to Dr. James Martinez. He was on my dissertation committee, known for being fair, ethical. I requested a meeting. I need guidance on a sensitive matter, I wrote. He responded within an hour. Come by tomorrow at 2. I showed him everything. Dr. Martinez didn't say much as he reviewed the documents. He made notes, asked clarifying questions. His jaw got tighter with each page. This is plagiarism, he finally said. Clear academic misconduct. You need to file a formal complaint. Against my advisor? She controls my graduation, my recommendation letters, everything. I understand the power dynamic, Dr. Martinez said, but if you don't speak up, she'll continue. She might already be doing this to other students. That thought made me feel sick. What if no one believes me? They'll believe the evidence. He tapped the papers. This is damning. File the complaint. I'll support you. I filed the complaint on Thursday. Submitted 40 pages of documentation to the university's Research Integrity Office. They assigned an investigator, scheduled preliminary interviews. Rebecca called me that evening. "We need to talk," she said. "My office." I walked across campus, my heart hammered. She knew. Someone had told her. Rebecca's office was dark. She sat in her chair, didn't turn on the lights. "You filed a complaint against me," she said. Not a question, a statement. "Yes. Do you have any idea what you've done?" Her voice was quiet, dangerous. "I built you, gave you opportunities, funded your research, and this is how you repay me? You stole my work. I guided your work, shaped it. Your ideas came from my mentorship, my expertise, my lab." She stood up, walked around the desk. "That grant proposal, it builds on years of my research. You contributed, but it's fundamentally mine. The data is mine. The experiments are mine. The writing is mine. Nothing in this lab is yours." Rebecca said, "You work for me. Every result belongs to this research group. To me, that's not how it works. I'm the primary investigator on my project." Rebecca laughed, cold and sharp. "You're a graduate student. You have no standing, no credibility. I have 15 years of publications, international recognition. The university will side with me. I have evidence. Evidence can be interpreted many ways." She sat on the edge of her desk, looked down at me. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to withdraw your complaint, apologize, finish your dissertation on a different project, and I'll let you graduate. And if I don't, then I'll make sure you never work in science again." I sit on grant review panels, journal editorial boards, hiring committees at every major university. One word from me and you're done. I left her office shaking, went straight home, called Dr. Martinez. "She threatened me," I told him. "Did she?" His voice got hard. "That's witness intimidation. Report it. Add it to your complaint." I did. The investigator took my statement, recorded everything. "We'll be conducting interviews next week," she told me. "Don't discuss the investigation with Professor Morrison or anyone in her lab." The following Monday, Rebecca called a lab meeting. All 5 grad students, both postdocs. "I want to address some rumors," she said. "There's been an allegation of misconduct. It's completely baseless, but the university has to investigate. These things happen." Everyone stared at me. They knew. Of course they knew. "I want to make something clear," Rebecca continued. "Academic integrity is paramount in this lab. Anyone who makes false accusations damages everyone's reputation, creates a hostile environment." Marcus, the postdoc, spoke up. "What kind of accusations? Plagiarism, data theft?" "The investigation will clear me completely," Rebecca smiled. "But it's unfortunate that valuable research time is being wasted on this nonsense." After the meeting, the other students avoided me. Nobody made eye contact in the hallway. Nobody saved me a seat at seminars. I became invisible. 2 weeks later, I got an email from the investigator. "We need to reschedule your follow-up interview. Professor Morrison's attorney has raised procedural concerns. The investigation is on hold pending review." "Attorney?" She lawyered up. I called Dr. Martinez again. "She's blocking the investigation." "Stay strong," he said. "Keep documenting. This isn't over." But it felt over. Rebecca kept teaching, running her lab, attending conferences, while I sat in limbo. No defense date, no graduation timeline, just waiting. December came. My funding ended. I had to move out of graduate student housing. Couldn't afford rent without my stipend. I moved into a friend's spare room. Worked at a coffee shop to pay for food. Still ran experiments in the lab when Rebecca wasn't there. Early mornings, late nights. The investigation dragged on. Rebecca's attorney filed motion after motion, procedural challenges, jurisdiction questions. They were burying the complaint in paperwork. January, the university held a closed hearing. Rebecca attended with her lawyer, a fancy one, 3-piece suit, briefcase worth more than my car. I sat alone with my folder of printouts. Maria Gonzalez came as a support person. Dr. Martinez couldn't attend. Conflict of interest. He was on my committee. Rebecca's lawyer spoke for 2 hours. Miss Chen is a disgruntled student, he said, upset about critical feedback. Rather than improve her work, she's made wild accusations, trying to explain her failure with conspiracy theories. He showed the panel Rebecca's CV, her publications, her grants, her awards. Does this look like someone who needs to steal from a graduate student? Then he attacked my evidence. These emails show collaborative mentorship, not theft. Professor Morrison was guiding Miss Chen's research, helping her develop ideas. That's what advisors do. He twisted everything, made Rebecca look like the victim, made me look crazy. My turn came. I presented my time-stamped drafts. These are from August, before the grant submission. The language is identical. Because you incorporated Professor Morrison's feedback, the lawyer said, she helped you write it. Of course there's overlap. No, I wrote these sections independently. She took them. Can you prove you didn't base your writing on her verbal suggestions, her direction, her expertise? I couldn't. How do you prove what someone said in private meetings? The panel deliberated for 3 weeks. Their decision came by email. Insufficient evidence of intentional misconduct. The investigation is closed. Professor Morrison is cleared of all charges. I stared at my screen. Insufficient evidence. After everything, all my documentation, all my proof. Maria called me that night. I'm so sorry, Sarah. They protected her, like they always do. What do I do now? You could appeal, but it would take years, cost money you don't have, so she wins. In the university system, yes, she wins. Maria paused. But there are other ways to expose the truth. Document everything. Build your own career. Eventually, people will see. I hung up feeling hollow, empty. 4.5 years, gone. No PhD, no publications, no career, nothing. 2 days later, Dr. Martinez emailed me. Sarah, I need to tell you something. Rebecca scheduled her own PhD defense for April. She's defending her dissertation on TDP-43 misfolding. I read the email 3 times. Her dissertation? She already has a PhD. She's applying for a second doctoral degree in a different department, biological sciences. They allow faculty to earn additional PhDs if they complete original research. My stomach turned. Original research. I'm on the committee. 7 of us. She's presenting research on TDP-43. The defense is public, open to the university community. I understood what he was telling me. Couldn't say it directly. Ethics rules. But he was giving me information. An opportunity. I looked up the defense announcement. April 15th. 2 p.m., University Conference Center, a novel mechanism of TDP-43 protein misfolding and its implications for ALS treatment by Dr. Rebecca Morrison. My work, my title, my research. She was getting a second PhD using my stolen data. I started planning. If the university wouldn't listen, I'd make sure that committee saw the truth, all 7 of them, in person, in real time, during her defense. I had 3 months. 3 months to build an airtight case that couldn't be dismissed, couldn't be explained away, couldn't be buried by lawyers. First, I needed more evidence, not just emails and drafts, something visual, undeniable. I went back through my lab notebooks, every experiment, every result, every data point. I photographed every page, 2,000 pages. I organized them chronologically, created a timeline showing when I generated each piece of data. Then I pulled my computer backups, found my original draft files. The metadata showed creation dates, modification dates, timestamps that proved I wrote those sections before Rebecca submitted her grant. I contacted the university IT department. I need to verify file authenticity, I told them, for academic purposes. They extracted the metadata, certified it, put their official stamp on it. I had 40 pages of certified computer records showing my work came first. Next, I needed witnesses, people who saw me doing the work. I reached out to the lab technician. Mark had worked in Rebecca's lab for 12 years, managed the equipment, ordered supplies. Mark, I need your help, I told him. We met at a coffee shop off campus. I heard about the investigation, Mark said. I'm sorry it didn't go your way. Do you remember my TDP-43 project? Of course. You practically lived in the lab. Ran those Western blots every weekend for months. Can you confirm the dates? When I was running those experiments? Mark pulled out his phone. I keep records, equipment logs, for maintenance scheduling. He showed me spreadsheets, dates I'd used the microscope, the centrifuge, the gel imaging system. You started in September 2 years ago. Intensive work through last summer. Would you be willing to testify to that? Mark hesitated. Rebecca's my boss. I can't afford to lose this job. I'm not asking you to file a complaint. Just be available if needed, as a factual witness. He thought for a long time. If someone officially asks me about equipment usage dates, I'll tell the truth. I'll show them my logs. But I can't volunteer information. That was enough. I had an independent witness with objective records. I also reached out to other students Rebecca had mentored, former lab members. I found 6 who'd graduated in the past 5 years. 3 agreed to talk to me, confidentially. She held my dissertation for 8 months, one told me. Kept saying it wasn't ready. Then I found sections of it in her grant renewal. She'd used my preliminary data without asking. Same thing happened to me, another said. She delayed my defense, used my work to secure her next funding cycle. Why didn't you say anything? She controlled my recommendation letters, my job prospects. You can't fight someone like that and win. I recorded their stories, asked if they'd speak publicly if needed. 2 said no, 1 said maybe, if there was legal protection. I built a comprehensive presentation, PowerPoint slides showing my data next to Rebecca's grant proposal, side-by-side comparisons, highlighted text, timestamps, computer metadata, lab notebook photos, equipment logs, witness statements, everything organized, clear, irrefutable. Then I prepared my delivery strategy. Rebecca's defense would be public. Anyone could attend, but you couldn't just interrupt. There were rules, procedures. After her presentation, the committee would ask questions. Then they'd open it up for audience questions. That was my window. I practiced my presentation 50 times, timed it, 12 minutes, short enough to hold attention, long enough to present all critical evidence. I memorized every slide, every transition, every point. I also contacted a journalist, someone who covered academic misconduct. I have a story I told her about research theft, plagiarism at a major university, with documented proof. Send me what you have, she said. I sent everything. She reviewed it for a week. This is solid, she finally said. If you're willing to go on record, I'll publish it. But timing matters. Do you have a trigger event? She's defending a dissertation using my stolen work. April 15th, public defense. Perfect. Get video of the defense, her reaction. Then we publish immediately after, while it's fresh, while people are paying attention. I bought a small camera, practiced setting it up discreetly. I'd record everything. Her presentation, the confrontation, the committee's reaction, everything. Finally, I prepared for the consequences. Rebecca would retaliate. Hard. I updated my resume, applied for industry jobs, positions that didn't require academic recommendations. I had interviews lined up for late April. Backup plans, exit strategies. Dr. Martinez checked in with me 2 weeks before the defense. Are you planning to attend? Yes. Sarah, be careful. Whatever you're thinking of doing, I'm just going to ask questions. During the public Q&A, that's allowed. He studied my face. Make sure you have everything documented, everything backed up, multiple copies. I do. Good luck. He shook my hand, held it a second longer than normal. He knew what I was planning. He couldn't endorse it officially, but he wasn't stopping me. The week before the defense, I did a final check, copied all my evidence onto 3 USB drives, put one in a safe deposit box, mailed one to my sister in California, kept one with me. I uploaded everything to cloud storage, sent copies to the journalist, made sure if something happened to me, the truth would still get out. April 15th arrived. I woke up at 5 a.m., couldn't sleep anyway, reviewed my presentation one last time, checked my equipment, camera, laptop, USB drive, phone for recording, everything charged, everything ready. I put on professional clothes, blazer, dress pants. I wanted to look credible, serious, like a scholar, not a bitter ex-student. The defense started at 2 p.m. I arrived at 1:45. The conference room was already half full. Faculty members, graduate students, some I recognized, some I didn't. Rebecca had publicized this widely, wanted a big audience for her triumph. I sat in the front row, center seat, put my bag on the floor, camera position to capture the stream. Everything ready. At 1:55, Rebecca entered with the committee. 7 professors. Dr. Martinez was there. He saw me, gave a tiny nod. The other committee members included 2 Nobel laureates, the Dean of Biological Sciences, top scientists from across the country. This was a major event. Rebecca walked to the podium. She wore a navy suit, hair perfect, confidence radiating. She saw me in the front row. Our eyes met. She smiled, cold and victorious. Good afternoon, she began. Thank you all for being here. Today, I'm presenting 3 years of groundbreaking research on TDP43 protein misfolding. Rebecca clicked through her slides, my introduction, my background section, my literature review. Every slide was mine, my words, my analysis, stolen wholesale. She presented her methodology, step-by-step protocols I'd developed, troubleshooting solutions I'd figured out after months of failed experiments. She described them like she'd invented them, like they were obvious, easy. Then came the data, my data, the graphs I'd generated, the statistical analyses I'd run, the beautiful reproducible results that proved my hypothesis. She presented them with complete confidence, answered questions from the committee like she'd done the experiments herself. This is truly innovative work. Dr. Lisa Park said during the presentation, the implications for ALS treatment are profound. Rebecca smiled. Thank you. It represents a fundamental shift in how we understand protein misfolding. I sat there watching her steal everything I'd worked for in real time. I sat there watching her steal everything I'd worked for in real time in front of 7 sets of muscles. I waited. My conclusions, the ones she'd told me were overstated. Now, she presented them as brilliant insights. Revolutionary thinking. Questions from the committee, Rebecca asked. Dr. Martinez went first. Can you walk us through the timeline of this research? When did you begin these experiments? Rebecca didn't miss a beat. I started preliminary work 3 years ago, initial protein preparations, method development. The bulk of the experiments were conducted over the past 18 months. And you conducted all these experiments personally? Yes, with standard lab support, equipment maintenance, that sort of thing. But the experimental design and execution were mine. That was a lie. A direct, provable lie. I'd done every single experiment. Mark's equipment log would prove it. Other committee members asked technical questions. Rebecca answered smoothly. She knew my work inside and out. She'd read all my drafts, studied all my data. She could defend it perfectly because it was actually defensible. It was good work, just not hers. After 30 minutes of committee questions, the chair stood. We'll now open the floor for audience questions. Anyone who wishes to ask Dr. Morrison about her research may do so. This was it, my moment. I stood up. Rebecca saw me rise. Her smile faltered, just for a second. Then she recovered. Yes? You have a question? I do. I pulled out my laptop, opened it. May I approach the projector? I have visual aids that will help clarify my question. The committee chair looked uncertain. This is highly unusual. I'm asking about data authenticity, I said clearly. I believe the committee will want to see what I have to present. Dr. Martinez spoke up. I think we should allow it. If there are questions about the research integrity, they should be addressed during the defense. The chair nodded slowly. Very well, please be brief. I walked to the front, plugged in my laptop. My first slide appeared on the screen. My name, research timeline, evidence of prior authorship. Rebecca's face went white. This is inappropriate, she said. Security should remove. I'm exercising my right to ask questions during a public defense, I said. My voice was steady now, calm. Unless there's a reason you don't want to answer them? The audience leaned forward. Everyone sensed drama. I clicked to my next slide. Side-by-side comparison. Rebecca's dissertation text on the left, my time-stamped draft on the right. Identical paragraphs. Highlighted in yellow. This is from your introduction, Dr. Morrison, and this is from my draft, written 14 months ago. The metadata is certified by University IT. Murmurs spread through the room. This proves nothing. Rebecca said, "We worked together. Collaborative writing is normal. Collaborative work requires attribution," I continued. "But you listed yourself as sole author. No acknowledgments, no co-authors. Let me show you more." I clicked through slide after slide. Her methodology matched mine. Her results matched mine. Her figures matched mine. Every single one, with timestamps, computer metadata, lab notebook photos showing the dates I generated each piece of data. "Here's equipment usage logs," I said, displaying Mark's records. "These show I was running these experiments 2 years ago. The dates you claim to have started this work, you weren't in the lab." I was. The committee members were passing notes, whispering to each other. The Nobel laureates looked shocked, angry. And here, I clicked to another slide, are statements from 3 of your former students. They describe similar patterns. Work delayed, data used without attribution. Grants submitted using their research. "This is a vendetta," Rebecca said. Her voice was rising. Losing control. She failed as a student, made accusations. The university investigated and cleared me. "The university investigation was blocked by your attorney," I said. "On procedural grounds, the evidence was never properly reviewed. So on presenting it here, to this committee, to these witnesses, let them decide." I showed my final slide. A timeline showing every piece of evidence, when I generated data, when I wrote drafts, when Rebecca submitted grants, when she filed for this PhD, everything laid out chronologically, undeniable. The room was silent. Dr. Martinez stood up. "I move that we postpone the defense pending a full investigation of these allegations. This committee cannot in good conscience approve a dissertation if there are credible questions about authorship." "Seconded," Dr. Park said immediately. The other committee members nodded. Agreement spread across their faces. The chair looked at Rebecca. "Dr. Morrison, do you have a response to these allegations?" Rebecca's face was red, furious. "This is an ambush, a coordinated attack. That woman," she pointed at me, shaking, "has been trying to destroy my career for months because I told her the truth, that she wasn't good enough, that her work needed improvement. She can't handle criticism, so she's invented this elaborate conspiracy." "The timestamps don't lie," Dr. Martinez said quietly. "The computer metadata is certified. The equipment logs are objective. Either you can explain how you conducted experiments on dates when you weren't in the lab, or you can't." Rebecca opened her mouth, closed it, looked around the room. Everyone was staring at her, judging her. She grabbed her papers. "This defense is over," she said. "I'm withdrawing." "You can't withdraw," the chair said. "The committee needs to." "Watch me." Rebecca unplugged her laptop, shoved it into her bag. She walked toward the door, stopped next to me, leaned close. "You have no idea what you've just done," she whispered. "I will bury you." "You already tried," I said. "Now it's my turn." She left. The room exploded into conversation. The committee huddled, talking urgently. Several people in the audience were filming on their phones, recording everything. Dr. Martinez approached me. "Sarah, you need to file a formal complaint with the Research Integrity Office today, right now, with all this evidence." "I will. And talk to an attorney. This is going to get ugly." I nodded. I knew. I'd prepared for it. The committee chair approached. "Miss Chen, is it? We need to convene an emergency meeting. Your evidence needs to be formally reviewed. Would you be willing to present all of this to the full Research Integrity Committee?" "Yes. I have everything documented. Multiple copies." "Good. We'll be in touch within 24 hours. People surrounded me as I left, asking questions, wanting details. I gave them basic facts, directed them to the official complaints process. My phone buzzed. The journalist. "I heard what happened. Are you ready to go public?" "Yes. Article publishes tomorrow morning. Front page of the university section. I'll need a few quotes from you for confirmation." I gave her the quotes. Fact-checked her article. Approved it for publication. That night, I couldn't sleep. My phone kept buzzing. Emails, messages, other students coming forward. "She did this to me too. I have similar stories. Can I add my evidence to yours?" The floodgates had opened. The article published at 6 a.m. prominent researcher accused of systematic plagiarism with my name. My evidence. Rebecca's attempt to steal my PhD. It spread instantly. University listservs, academic Twitter, Reddit. Within hours, national news outlets picked it up. The university had no choice. They announced a full investigation by 10 a.m. Rebecca was placed on administrative leave. Her lab was shut down pending review. Her graduate students were reassigned. Her grants were frozen. The Research Integrity Committee reviewed my evidence for 2 weeks. Every document, every timestamp, every witness statement. They interviewed Mark. He confirmed everything, showed them his equipment logs, proved I'd done the work. They interviewed Rebecca's former students. 3 came forward officially. All described similar patterns: work delayed, data appropriated. 1 had kept emails, another had lab notebooks. The committee found a systematic pattern spanning 6 years. The final report came out in May, 52 pages. It concluded that Rebecca had engaged in deliberate, systematic plagiarism of graduate student research across multiple projects. The misconduct was intentional, pervasive, and designed to advance her career at the expense of her students. The university revoked her tenure, terminated her immediately, retracted 3 of her publications that used stolen data, notified funding agencies, recommended criminal investigation for grant fraud. Rebecca filed a lawsuit against me, against the university, against Dr. Martinez, claimed defamation, conspiracy. It went nowhere. Her attorney withdrew after seeing the evidence. No one else would take the case. The federal investigation came next. The Office of Research Integrity. They looked at all her grants, all her publications, found evidence of fraud in 4 different projects, not just mine. She'd been doing this for years. They banned her from receiving federal funding for 10 years, effectively ending her career. No university would hire her. No journal would publish her. She was blacklisted. But my story had a better ending. The university offered me full reinstatement, new advisor, new funding, extended timeline. Dr. Martinez became my advisor. You've already done the work. He told me, let's get you graduated. I defended my dissertation in October. Real defense this time, under my name, my work. The committee included 4 of the professors who'd witnessed Rebecca's attempted theft. They asked tough questions. Good questions. I answered all of them. When they finished, Dr. Martinez smiled. Congratulations, Dr. Chen. Your work is groundbreaking and your courage is inspiring. I graduated in December. 5 years total. Longer than planned, but worth it. My dissertation was published in Nature, first author, my name only. It won the university's award for Best Dissertation of the Year. I got job offers, 10 of them, from top research institutions. Everyone wanted the student who exposed Rebecca Morrison. I accepted a position at Stanford, assistant professor. I own lab, freedom to pursue my research without fear. 5 other students came forward after my case. Found the courage to report misconduct by their advisors. 3 cases were substantiated. Those professors were removed. The culture is changing, slowly, because people saw what happened when someone fought back. Rebecca. She teaches high school chemistry now, in a small town in Idaho. Her Wikipedia page lists the scandal first, her publications second. She'll never recover her reputation, never work in research again. I think about her sometimes. Wonder if she regrets it. Probably not. People like that never think they're wrong. They just think they got caught. But I learned something important. The system protects power, hierarchies, established names. It won't protect you. You have to protect yourself, document everything, build evidence, find allies. And when the moment comes, be ready to burn it all down. Because sometimes the only way to get justice is to stand up in front of everyone and show them the truth. Even when you're terrified, even when you have everything to lose, sometimes you have to gamble everything on being right. I gambled, I won, and now I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, assistant professor, principal investigator, my own lab, my own students.
And I swear I will never ever do to them what Rebecca Morrison did to me.
That's how you turn betrayal into a PhD and a career and a revolution.